Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's vlogcast. I'm delighted to welcome Louise Broughton. Louise and I have known each other for a long time. And Louise, I'd like you please to just tell the community how you were diagnosed and how your journey has started.
Hi, everybody. I'm 68 and I was diagnosed when I was 54 in 2009. And I have polycythemia. It was very odd because, you know, I think I started with symptoms about 7 years before diagnosis. I had very strange visual effects like a migraine, but without a headache, so broken glass effect, and quite hot on my face. I was like as red as a tomato. Everybody thought I'd been in the sun all the time. So that went on. And then in mid-2009, I started getting fearsome headaches up the back of my neck, into my head, and itching, what is known as aquagenic pruritus now. Now, I'd had that before when I had hepatitis A about 25 years previously. So although the doctor wasn't sure what was wrong with me when I went along with headaches and things, I knew that this pruritus, I was very fortunate in the fact I knew, was blood related. So I asked him to do a series of blood tests, and that's when it showed up. But that started in July, and I actually wasn't diagnosed until November.
Goodness me, that's quite a long time with all those symptoms. How did you manage?
How did I manage? I was quite poorly, actually. Yeah, I felt quite poorly. I was very tired. And I mean, everybody knows who's been diagnosed. I mean, some people have lesser effects, some people have worse. And I was running 2 businesses from home and bringing up a couple of girls. My husband was really busy. So yeah, it was really difficult, Nona. So I was jolly relieved when my doctor phoned me up, and it was most bizarre, really. Phoned me up and he said, "Oh, I think we found the problem, Mrs. Broughton." He said, "I think you have polycythemia." And I said, "Oh, well, thank heaven you found out what it is. What's polycythemia?" And he said to me, "Oh, go and Google it. You can find anything on Google these days." Well, you and I know that Dr. Google isn't always, and certainly wasn't 14 years ago, wasn't really accurate, because the first thing I read was, you know, the prognosis is 10 years. And I'm a hardy old bat, you know, very seldom reduced to tears. But that was a bit frightening. I thought, crikey, never going to see my grandchildren. But as you and I know, Nona, people have had this for 30, 35 years and we're absolutely fine. So it's far better to find a specialist or a hematologist who actually knows about this condition, rather than just reading it on Google or asking for advice on websites or forums. You need to find somebody who knows about it.
I think actually what you've said is incredibly valid. It's a fairly scary diagnosis, but this Dr. Google, in our experience, led to a lot more worry than reassurance. And that was one of the reasons that, well, it was originally MPD support, blood disorder support, which why we got going with getting accurate information out to patients, clinicians and family members. But when did you first discover well, it would have been MPD support then, I think, probably.
I actually went to see a private hematologist, because when I went to my local hematologist, and he was brilliant, so I'm not going to decry what he did, but I also wanted more information, and I can't even remember the name of this chap now, but he said, look, he said, there's a very good setup, I think he called it, he called it a charity, he called it a setup, called MPD Voice, and that's where I first heard about it, and contacted what was then MPD Voice, and was put in touch with you as my buddy, which was brilliant.
I remember that day very well. I remember I was in the kitchen when I got your call. I can hear it now in my mind. But I mean, let's just talk about the buddies, because for anybody who's watching this vlogcast for the first time, MPN Voice website has links to how you can connect with buddies. And I think, you know, for me, having somebody to talk to, I didn't have it when I was diagnosed in 1991, is a huge comfort, actually. Somebody to talk to who's been there, done that, got the T-shirt. And what's your, I know you've gone on to be a buddy to a number of people very successfully. What's your experience? Where do you see the strengths of the buddy program for MPN Voice?
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's talking to somebody who's been there and got the T-shirt, because we all know how jolly frightening it is when you're diagnosed with something you've never heard of. You're told it's a blood cancer. You don't know anybody else that's got it. Because of data protection, the medics won't reveal anybody else who's got it. So you're desperately looking around. I can remember coming home and actually crying into the washing up. I can't believe I did this now. I can't believe I'm saying it. But I hope this is a bit of a comfort to anybody who's just been diagnosed, because it is frightening and we've all been there. And we know that you come out the other side. And it does actually, I think, take a couple of years to get your head around it. And become comfortable with this condition, if you know what I mean, and think, actually, it isn't curable, but it's treatable. Maybe it's a bit like diabetes. But I honestly think the support, and, you know, we're not miserable. We buddies, we say, you know, everything's fine and this is what you can expect and this is how you feel. And I in particular know how to cope with aquagenic pruritus. I simply stopped doing everything that I thought was antagonizing it. People that know me well know I haven't had a bath or a shower or been near any water between my neck and my shins for 14 years. I stopped doing it because I thought, this is hell. Why am I doing it? And I manage perfectly well, but we can talk about that later if you want to. But it's so good to have a listening ear. And I've buddied about 38 new patients now over 12 years. And I think it is. I know that some of them I never hear from again. We might have one email between us. We might have one telephone conversation between us. Others have become friends and we speak regularly, which is nice for me and nice for them, actually. You know, a bit of support both ways. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? You know, that sort of thing. And it's lovely. Nona, it really is.
I think that's one of the joys of being part of the community, actually. It's, you know, that we certainly find going face to face again now at the forums, you know, you build up a large number of friends and people that have the same thing. What I would say, though, is that huge difficulty I think everybody had when the World Health Organization changed the blood disorder into a neoplasm.
Yeah.
But you know, I remember my doctor saying to me, what does that mean? It just means a proliferation of cells. It doesn't necessarily mean anything more sinister. And, you know, like you say, lots of people have different symptoms. And some people really struggle with the symptom burden. And I think, you know, I do acknowledge that not everybody has had an easy journey.
No.
And I'd like really you, because I know this itch and the skin problem has been huge for you. And I know there are a lot of people out in the community who struggle with it. In a few words, can you give top tips to people who are really struggling with pruritus, in your view?
Top tips. Well, the main one, of course, is contact with water, and was for me anyway. And as I say, I sat down one day and I thought, this is actually the pits. And I'm stopping doing everything that makes it worse. Wearing tights was one of them. So you'll never see me in a dress or a skirt or tights anymore. I always wear trousers of some sort. As I say, stopped bodily contact with water. I wash my hair over the bath. I can wash my face without a problem. And I can wash my feet without a problem. And we have a bidet. So that takes care of the nether regions. If you don't have a bidet and no room for one, Amazon sell actually plastic bidets. I think they're about £8. And you can put them under the tap in the bathroom and then just lift them onto the loo, lift the lid up, lift the seat up, bob them onto the loo, and you sit on that. It's just like a bidet. And it's absolutely brilliant. The rest of me, I've started using something called micellar water. Now, Simple sell it. Most of the big cosmetic places sell micellar water, and you can buy quite large cotton wool pads that are meant for babies, I think, but they're about 2 or 3 inches square. And I put micellar water on, and I do my neck and my underarms and my chest and around my back, and I actually do my ears and behind my ears as well. So. And that sorts it. It really does. I do my torso occasionally, but strangely enough, touch wood, I don't seem to itch with my micellar water. I think because it's probably got, a little bit of oil in it. So tights did it for me. Water did it. I stopped drinking alcohol mainly because it didn't seem to suit me anymore. But I don't think it had any effect really on pruritus. So water and tight-fitting synthetic clothing really was awful. So that's me. That's how I conquered that.
Thank you, Louise. This has been, I'm sure, immensely helpful for people struggling with pruritus. There's just one last thing I want to touch on, which is something that you and I both talked about, which is problems with skin, PV and hydroxycarbamide. And maybe we could end this with you just showing us the hat you've shown me, helping you.
You just want me to look a laughing stock, don't you know? No, I know. Yeah, you and I know that if you're on hydroxycarbamide, we need to be really careful in the sun, wear a 50 factor. And I've never been a sun worshipper, but we have been walkers and sailors and outdoor folk. And of course, in the past, I've maybe been out without, you know, and I'm talking, golly gumdrops, 40, 50 years ago, and I used to have a really bad skin in my teens. I had terrible acne, and of course my parents dragged me around to hematologists. Oh, get a sun lamp. So I was toasted in front of that. We do have to be very careful. So this is me act, folks. You can laugh, I don't mind. You can get the seaman look, you know, the RNLI look, if you want to, or you can have sort of a Paddington Bear look, or you can do whatever, and it's brilliant. It's made by a company called Solbari, who are Australian, and it's spelt S for sugar, O-L, B for Bertie, A-R-I. On the website, they sell clothes, they actually sell sun cream, and they sell hats. They sell hats with smaller brims, and they sell caps as well. So this is me.
And you told me that whole canvas is 50 factor.
It is. Yeah. They swear that the actual fabric itself is 50 factor, which is great. So, you know, I would have been seen dead in this years ago, but by golly, I don't care anymore.
Anyway, Louise, this has been a wonderful conversation. And thank you so much, not only for having the conversation with me, but for all you've been doing for MPN Voice over the years. It's very, very much appreciated.
Oh, Nona, it's a pleasure. And it's always lovely to talk to you.
Thank you. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.